Hello students, welcome back to my channel Lightup Knowledge and welcome to today's video. I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, we will cover independent clauses and its types. In the previous video, we've already covered about the basic introduction to clauses and also the basic introduction to the types of clauses. There is a separate playlist of clauses on my channel. You can check that out. Now, without any further ado or delay, let's jump right into the video. As we know that there are two types of clauses, independent clause and dependent clause, and this video is about independent clause and its types. So an independent clause is the one that can stand alone as they can make complete sense on their own. So basically an independent clause is a clause that can stand by itself like a simple sentence. An independent clause contains a subject and a predicate and makes sense by itself. The basic definition of clause also says that it has a subject and a finite verb. So basically an independent clause is a clause that is complete by itself to convey its meaning. It is not dependent upon any other clause to convey its meaning or to complete its meaning. It makes complete sense on its own. If you see these examples, which are the examples of independent clause, number one is the professor always comes to the class fully prepared. So here we have the subject, and what's that subject? The professor, and we have a finite verb, we have a predicate, we have a finite verb comes, and we have a predicate always comes to the class fully prepared. So this sentence is an independent clause because it's conveying the fuller meaning by itself. The second example is our planets revolve around the sun. In this example we will observe that we have a subject, our planets, and then we have a finite verb, revolve. Our planets revolve around the sun. Our planets is the subject and revolve is a finite verb. So this is an independent clause. There are three types of independent clauses and we will discuss each one by one. The first one is single type of an independent clause is a single clause. So a single clause stands alone and makes complete sense on its own, forming a complete sentence. So single clause is such a clause that can stand alone and it makes complete sense on its own. Now what is a simple sentence? A simple sentence is a basic sentence that expresses a complete thought. It consists of a single clause. Okay, it consists of single clause as shown here in the examples, which means it has a single finite verb contained in the predicate of the subject, right? So it has a single finite verb. Birds fly. Okay, birds is the subject and fly is the finite verb. Similarly, if you see the next example, children love sweets and candies. Children is the subject here, love sweets and candies is the predicate, and love is one finite verb present here. Similarly, the next example is I am happy with his work. So I is the subject, am is the finite verb, one finite verb that should be present, and predicate is am happy with his work. The next example is would you like to have some snacks? So this is an interrogative sentence which is an example of a single clause where you is the subject, right, and like is that finite verb, right. So therefore all these are the examples of single clause where we have one finite verb with a subject and a predicate. The second type of an independent clause is a main clause. So let's understand what is a main clause. It appears in complex sentences. Now we should understand what is complex sentence in order to understand a main clause. So a complex sentence basically contains an independent clause. Okay, as we are reading the type of independent clause, so it has an independent clause and it has at least one dependent or a subordinating clause attached to it. Okay, and it is with the subordinating conjunction like who, which, that, when, where, while, before, after, because, like these subordinating conjunctions. So basically a main clause a complex sentence is a sentence which has a independent clause and that independent clause is attached to a dependent or a subordinate clause containing a subordinating conjunction like who, which, that, where, while, before, etc. Okay, it makes complete sense on its own. Yes, it makes complete sense on its own, and it basically, it is making complete sense, but it is giving meaning and context to the subordinating clause which is attached to it, right? So understand it, visualize it. Okay, basically you have a main clause, okay, and main clause is present in which kind of sentences? Complex sentences. And these complex sentences, what are these? These have an independent clause, as well as what do they have? They have a subordinating clause starting with a subordinating conjunction, okay, to convey its fuller meaning, to give that independent clause is giving the context and a meaning to the subordinating clause which is attached to it, okay, and basically forming a complex sentence. I hope you understood it. Okay, if you didn't, I can explain you again. You can comment down, I love to answer them. If you see these examples here, I hate people who cry for sympathy. I hate people who cry for sympathy. So basically here, if you see the structure of the sentence, I hate people, okay, I hate people, it's complete in its meaning. So this is a kind of a complex sentence where this part of a sentence is your independent clause. Who cry, it is starting with a subordinating conjunction, who cry for sympathy. Okay, this is an incomplete meaning, so this is giving an incomplete meaning to itself. So it requires the help of an independent clause to convey its meaning. That's why who cry for sympathy is a subordinate clause or dependent clause. So this makes completely in a package. This is an example of a complex sentence. This example is, he has been requesting since long for he be transferred to his hometown. So here the part in italics is an independent clause, and the other part that is in black, that he be transferred to his hometown, is a subordinate clause, and it completely makes a main clause. The third and the last type of an independent clause is a coordinate clause. It appears in compound sentences. So what are compound sentences? So a compound sentence is a sentence that contains at least, okay, it can be more, at least two independent clauses. So it's made up of at least two independent clauses, and it is joined by a coordinating conjunction, and coordinating conjunctions like for, and, but, or, yet, so, or a semicolon. Okay, so a coordinating clause is a clause which appears in a compound sentence, and compound sentence contains at least two independent clauses which is joined by what? It is joined by a coordinating conjunction like for, so, yet, or, and, or it is joined by a semicolon. It makes complete sense on its own and coordinates with independent clause of equal importance in a sentence to complete the whole compound sentence. So in order to complete a compound sentence, what it should be? It should contain at least two independent clauses. If it will contain two independent clauses and joined by a coordinating conjunction, then in that sense the sentence would be the sentence would be a compound sentence, okay, and the clauses will be coordinate clauses, and it is connected to other coordinate clauses, as I said, and those coordinate clauses are basically independent clauses, and they are joined with the help of coordinating conjunctions like and, but, or, so, nor, for, yet, and these types of conjunctions. So let's see the examples. Okay, before moving on to the example, I'll just teach you once again. Coordinate clause. So coordinate clause appears in a compound sentence, and in a compound sentence you have at least two independent clauses, and these two independent clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction. Let's have a look at its examples. These students attend classes regularly and complete their assignments on time. So here we can observe that there are two independent clauses. The first one is, these students attend classes regularly, joined by a coordinating conjunction, and and the other independent clauses complete their assignment on time. So here in the second clause we have a hidden subject because it's already understood that it's pointing to students. So therefore we have avoided writing the subject for the second time in the second clause. The next example is Nayan is not so poor but he is miserly. So Nayan is not so poor is an independent clause, and the other he is miserly, that's also an independent clause. Two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction but is an example of a coordinate clause. So therefore this is also an example of a coordinating clause. So yes guys, that was all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you found it useful. If you did, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. All important playlists will be linked down in the description box. Keep learning.